hi everyone that is watching us today. Thank you all for tuning in to this second instalment of the Instagram live series that we're running. So today I have the lovely Hannah Roper with me, and she's just like an all-round superstar.
Oh my God.
She is, and I'm just going to list off a bunch of things that I know you do. So Hannah is an entrepreneur, writer, speaker, podcast host, and a country music singer, just to name like a few little bits there.
Yeah.
And also the founder of The Female Creative. So all of Hannah's incredible busy life that she leads, all the work that she's done in our community, has led to her becoming an award recipient for one of the Inspirational Women of Portsmouth Awards of 2022, and that was in the Business Established category. Now Hannah has also taken on the role of becoming a non-executive director at Pamodzi, which is great. It's always nice to work alongside more people.
Oh, so exciting. So exciting.
So Hannah, we know a lot about you sort of already from the list of things that you do for our community, but could you tell us a little bit more about sort of the things you do sort of every day?
Yeah, so I'm founder and director of the Female Creative, and I am a coach and mentor for businesses who want to get a better work-life balance and run their business their way. Something that I've discovered over the last few years is there's so much information out there. There's so many bits of advice coming from different directions. There's so many theories when it comes to running business. But when I see people go down the route where they're doing things that they're told to do, it feels uncomfortable. It doesn't go as well as they want it to. So the Female Creative is all about creating that safe space for you to be able to run your business your way. And it was born in lockdown. So it was a lockdown business. And as you said, before that, I did quite a few things. So I had a lot of experience in marketing myself for my country music. So I used to perform under the name Lily Garland. So I performed a lot around the city. I performed at Victorious. I've also performed across the country. So I had to market myself, PR, social media marketing, all of that sort of thing. Branding as well was loads and loads of skills that I kind of learnt whilst I was doing that. And I also dabbled a little bit in network marketing for a health and wellness company, where again I just learned so much about business, about selling, about marketing and strategy as well, about being more strategic. And putting all of that together with having spent more than 20 years in learning and development and coaching and developing people, it just kind of made sense that the Female Creative came together really. And it's grown from one-to-one coaching into a group membership, podcast, as you mentioned, blogs. I've also been published in a couple of books now this year, which was super duper exciting. And yeah, the future looks really fun and really exciting, but also really busy.
Yeah, it sounds really busy.
Yeah.
It's always intimidating when someone they're like, oh yeah, I do a podcast, and I'm like, oh, you must be a bit more of a professional than I am.
No, that's why podcasts are so cool, because podcasts are literally just having conversations. I mean, the great thing is you never have to wear makeup because people can't see you.
Exactly. It's just a little
pajamas.
Oh, I do like doing things like this, so it's always good to sort of hear other people's stories and things like that. So I know you were saying how sort of you founded your business to help promote and support the work-life balance of women. So you list a whole bunch of things that you do. So I'm quite curious to know how you manage to have a healthy work-life balance.
Well, the caveat to that is I don't always get it right. And that's, again, I think is really, really important, because I do have people come to me and say, you know, how do you do it? You're so organised. That's years and years and years of building up that skill set. I was a primary school teacher for a few years. So again, a very organised role. I was also an operational police officer for 13 years. So again, I had to be very, very organised. I had to be kind of very on top of things. So I've developed those skills over time, but I don't get it right all the time. You know, sometimes I do drop balls, sometimes I forget things. You know, I am normal just like everybody else, but for me, what I have learnt is there's a few kind of key things that enable me to stay organised. The first thing is I have to write everything down, and for those that work with me one-to-one, that work with me in the membership, they know that I write everything down. But for Pamodzi, whenever we have our board meetings, I write everything down. And part of that is my, you know, previous role as a police officer. If it wasn't written down, it didn't happen. So, you know, writing things down really, really does help keep me organised. I also have a very extensive online calendar. And again, if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't happen. And I colour code my calendar as well. So, you know, there's lots and lots of kind of little tactics, but the biggest thing that I think enables me to juggle the amount that I do juggle, because I also work full time. I work in the learning and development department for a large aviation company. I'm also a mum, I'm a stepmom, I'm a wife, I've got a little bearded dragon sat behind me. So, you know, there are a lot of things in my personal life that I have to juggle as well. And the two things I think is prioritization and being kind to myself. And the second one's what's taken a long time to be able to develop. But in terms of prioritization, I am really strict with myself in terms of actually saying, do you know what, I can't do that. So take this week, for example, I'm due to go away. I'm not going to be working for a week. I've got a project deadline in my day job that has to get done. So therefore I will cut back on some other things. So I might not be as active on social media. I might not, you know, be able to get a podcast episode edited, or I might only be able to do one rather than multiples, or, you know, so I will prioritize, and I will actually be quite strict with myself, and I will look at things and say, do I need to do that, or do I just want to? And so often in business, in fact in any walk of life, our to-do list is massive, and it is never ever ending, and it won't ever be, you know, we won't ever come to an end, because we'll always find something new to do. Even if you clear it off, then you'll still be like, oh, but I can do this. So for me, it's around actually saying, do I need to do this, and what is the impact if I don't? So for my business, I know that my client work always has to come first. I might want to post on social media, I might want to do a new blog, I might want to do a few PR activities, but actually if I don't serve my clients, I've got no business. So I have to prioritize those. So I prioritise my activities in terms of what's going on at that particular point and what I want to achieve. But I said the other thing is being kind to myself. For a long time, I would think, oh, you know, I would beat myself up because I didn't get my to-do list finished, or I didn't do, you know, whatever it was that I kind of had in my mind to do. And I think that's taken a lot of work of really giving myself a talking to, and being kinder to myself. And actually, one of the tactics I use for that, which I do with my clients and my hub members, is to mentally run through all the positives for the day. And I will actually mentally run through all the things that I have achieved. Because when I do that, quite often I go, of course I couldn't fit anything else in. That's ridiculous. I've done so much. And, you know, that will involve things like I had to put the bins out. I had to make sure that the washing was done. I had to make sure that everyone had clean underpants. I had to make sure that I did the food shop or whatever it was. So it's not just business and work things that I will run through. I will look at my entire day and go, actually, I've done all of these things. Of course I couldn't do any more, and that has really helped me. And I know Chelsea's just commented on the video about, you know, needing to be a bit more strict with your time, and it's kind of strictness, but not in a horrible way. It's giving you space. It's going, do you know what, there are only so many hours in the day. I am only one person. I want to spend time with my child, or I need to go and do the food shopping, or I want to do X, Y, and Z with my business. Or, do you know what, I just want to watch the last episode of Stranger Things. You know, because that's really important as well. Or I want to read a couple of chapters of my book. So I think really kind of going through, again, one of the tools that I use is old school. I've got my own little mini whiteboard. And I keep that up in my office, and that's where things go. And if they're on the whiteboard, then they're going to get done. If they don't make it to the whiteboard, then they'll sit somewhere in another list, and I'll get to it at some point, because actually they're not essential. So yeah, I don't always get it right. I do forget things sometimes. I do, you know, I'll buy some stuff for dinner, but I'll miss the main ingredient and like, oh my god, I can't cook that. So it isn't easy, but it does take practice, and it does take being kind to yourself, because do you know what, everyone I work with, everyone I know, they're all amazing and they juggle so much, but they don't give themselves credit.
Yeah, I can relate to the whole trying to be kind to yourself thing. It's something I'm still sort of learning to do, juggling the whole uni experience with working with all the other things I do alongside. But yeah, definitely understand the whole trying to be kind to yourself.
And it's hard, it's really hard
It's
to
not
do.
easy, yeah.
You have to persevere with, and like I say, I know a lot of people might write things down, they might do it, you know, kind of gratitude journals. For me personally, that's giving me an extra thing to do, which is why then it quite often doesn't work out. So I'm not necessarily a massive writer in terms of journaling, but mentally I will take a moment, I'll go, right, run through all the things, what have I achieved, what am I really proud of today, what's gone really, really well. So, you know, it's whatever works for you. Some people it's mentally, some people it's writing things down, but yeah, just keep persevering.
Always. I feel like a lot of women watching this might like sort of relate to the sort of conversation there about trying to juggle everything, because I know a lot of inspirational women who are sort of mums, and you know, they've got a big personal life to juggle as well as their professional life, and it's always interesting to try and find that balance.
Yeah, I don't think you ever get it 100% right. Sometimes, you know, it tips one way or it tips the other way. And like I say, it's the same for you when you're balancing your uni stuff with then all the other things you do. And as well, something that I've come across, because, you know, I'm very much an advocate of running your business alongside your day job if that's what you want to do. There is pressure apart from the pressure you put on yourself. You know, you absolutely can run things alongside each other, but sometimes the balance has to tip in a different way. So for me this week, the balance is tipping more towards the day job. Other weeks, the balance will tip more towards the female creative, or if I'm running a networking event, or I know that I've got a podcast deadline, or whatever it might be. So it's, you know, it is possible to do these things, but you absolutely have to kind of go whichever way is needed at that point. And again, that's where the being kind to yourself comes in. Don't beat yourself up.
No. Cool. So what did being nominated for one of our Inspirational Women Awards actually mean to you? Like, and then finding out that you sort of won it, how do you reckon that sort of impacted your life?
I think for me, being nominated for any award is amazing. And, you know, when you run a business or when you're doing something that is in service of others, you do it because you want to help others, because that's the type of personality you are. But let's not get away from the fact that anything like that is, you know, it's a massive confidence boost. The fact that somebody else has got that belief in you and that has taken that time to write something about you, send it in, be committed to actually talking about you. And I think that's the most amazing thing about Pamodzi, and one thing that I've come, especially being on the board as well, that I've really come to realize even more is that it's not just about you as the individual, it's also about the community that you represent as well. And the female creative community are amazing. Like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without them. The women that are clients, the women that come to the networking events, the women that I interview on the podcast, you know, everybody's giving that support and that time to each other to help each other grow and help each other develop. And I think for me, when I found out that I've been nominated, it was amazing, you know, and I apologise to everyone, I've probably used the word amazing a lot, but it was an amazing feeling that someone had taken the time. And I went along to the awards because I then was a finalist, which again, the fact then that I was a finalist, it was kind of like that next step up of, oh, maybe I am doing something, because I look really confident and I am really confident, but it's taken an awful lot of work to get here to be confident. But I'm also still human, and I also still have moments of doubt, and is this worth it, and what am I doing, and why am I doing all these things, because I don't have to. And so when you're in a moment like that, it's that kind of just taking a few seconds to then say, I am doing something worthwhile. This is worth it. This is worth, you know, the arguments with my partner because he doesn't quite understand why I'm running a business against, you know, a full-time job. It is worth getting a few sarky comments from my near teenage son because You know, I have pushed back against taking him to another football match or allowing him to join another football team. I mean, I spend 3-4 days a week as it is running around after his football. So it kind of makes those things worth it, that other people have got that faith in you and other people have got that confidence in you. And I went along to the awards night, which was amazing. I told you. It was such a fantastic night, having that energy in one room of all of those incredible women that are in our community, that are in Portsmouth. You know, that there was so much inspiration just in one room from one city. It was electric. And I know people say this, honestly did not for 1 minute think I would win, because we had the email saying make sure you prepare a speech, you know, just in case, don't wing it. And I was like, I don't need to prepare a speech. So I didn't prepare a speech. And the award came up and they did the, you know, the lovely kind of video of, and I was looking to, you know, to all of the other finalists, and I was thinking, oh my god, these women are amazing, like they're way more amazing than I am. Like, I'm just so pleased to be here. And then when they called my name out, then that's where I lost all ability to actually speak and function like a proper human being. And that's when, you know, you should have prepared a speech. So anyone that makes it through to the finalist round next year, don't wing it. Even if you don't think you're going to win, still prepare a speech, because otherwise, Sian said she loved my speech. My speech was a blubbering mess. I watched it back afterwards because I was thinking, oh, surely it can't have been that bad. Yeah, it was, because I was just so overwhelmed with emotion. And the other big thing for me, and a lot of my clients will know this, but also my friends and family, is for so long I hid behind Lily Garland. You know, I had a huge success with Lily Garland. I was lucky enough to win some of the Guide awards for best solo act in the city. So, you know, again, I come across as really, really confident, but I was hiding behind Lily Garland. That was my protective shield. Whereas the Pamodzi award was the first time I'd stepped out as me in that, and I think that was quite overwhelming, that I felt exposed, but exposed in a really positive way. And again, there's just so much love, like everyone that was there, which is why, you know, them being invited onto the board, it was a no-brainer. Of course I'm going to say yes, because, you know, Pamodzi and everything it stands for is just incredible and needs to keep growing and keep reaching more people.
Yeah, I mean, everyone I speak to, like, who have sort of been nominated or win awards or just inspiring people I've spoken to, everyone is always really humble about themselves. They're like, oh, it's never going to be me, I'm not inspirational, what are you talking about? But I think that's the mark of a truly inspirational person, is they don't big themselves up enough. And I mean, you should, but I think it's a special little, you know, personality trait that inspirational people have.
Yeah, and I think if I look at the inspirational people I know, they're exactly the same. And, you know, and it is that element of, we are all still human and we are still grounded. And the moment we stop, that's when someone needs to give us a really good talking to, because you're not embodying the spirit of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna get my drink. There we go.
No worries. Lots of talking. Oh, so I'm sure your inspirational journey hasn't reached an end yet. I'm sure there's going to be lots more that we're going to see from you and the Female Creative. So would you mind telling me a little bit about what your plans are going forward?
Oh gosh, so my business coach tells me off, you see, because I go to my sessions, because every good coach has their own coach, and I truly believe that you can't be successful to the point where you want to get to without that support. Excuse me. So I do have to be careful, because otherwise she'll tell me off, because I put lots of things on my future list. But I think for me, it's around growing that support for women within the city, being able to come to networking events, being able to share their experiences and be inspired by each other. That's where I want the Female Creative to go. Excuse me. So I think that's definitely where the Female Creative will expand, the networking events will expand. We're looking at other opportunities to bring people together. So it isn't just about that pressure of almost being coached by me. I want to be able to provide opportunities for people at different stages in their business. Coaching is a big investment, and some people are absolutely ready for that. And some people are only at the start of their journey. So it's about providing those safe spaces for people at affordable, for them to be able to start that journey of growth. So that's where I want the Female Creative to go, plus more books, more podcasts, more press, all of that sort of stuff.
Why not? Oh, sounds very exciting. An exciting future. But I think we're going to hear a lot more from you and the company. I think it's going to be great just to empower more women.
Yeah, I think so. And it's, you know, and it's not about excluding people either, because I have worked with men before. Even though I'm Female Creative, I have worked with men because my services have suited them. But for me, there is a lot of networking going on. There is a lot of business support in the city. We're actually really lucky in Portsmouth. The same that the music scene is fantastic in Portsmouth, so is the business scene, but not everyone is suited to everything that's on offer. So for me, it's about providing that bit more of a feminine space, but also, you know, being strategic, being planned, being organised, and giving people the tools to be able to balance and manage and not feel guilty. And for me, it's always about showing that you can do what you want to do. And there's a quote by Oprah Winfrey that I always kind of go back to, and she always says that you can have it all, just not at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, especially for women. You can chase those dreams, you can reach out and do something that's slightly out of the norm, but you know, you're just going to have to readdress that balance sometimes, and that's what the Female Creative space is about, is enabling people to have the tools to do that.
Oh, I feel really like empowered. It's just
good.
We're having these conversations. I love them. I come out like buzzing after all of them. I'm like, these women, they are incredible. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do all these cool things.
And then you look at the time and you're like, oh no, I should just go to bed right now.
Yeah, it's bedtime. So I got one last question for you. It's arguably the hardest question I ever have to ask anyone, because I hate being asked it myself. But if you had to choose one person, who would you say inspires you?
This is so hard, because you did send me the questions before, although I admit I didn't really prepare, because that's just me. As we know, I wing these sorts of things. And I looked at that question, and you kind of specifically put, I know this is really difficult, but I just want you to focus on one person. It is so difficult.
So hard.
Different people have inspired me at different points, and obviously my family inspire me. They've taught me so much. My friends inspire me on a daily basis. You know, the Pamodzi board, being involved in that, they inspire me every time we have a meeting, with the vision and the creativity and the passion that is behind Pamodzi. But if you forced my hand and made me narrow it down to one person, and again, say there are so many inspirational people and women in my life that I am so blessed when it comes to that. But the person that sticks in my mind the most is my business coach, Amy. And what I find so inspiring about her is because she does things her way, and she hasn't succumbed to some of the unethical marketing techniques, some of the coaching methodologies that just don't feel comfortable. And she's done things her way. She was a very young mum, got a lot of stick for being a very young mum, but do you know what has made a success? Is such a grounded, wonderful person, a fantastic mum, a committed wife, but yet runs this fantastic business where she inspires other business owners as well. So I think they're the sorts of qualities that really inspire me, is people that do things their way, that don't give up even when it gets tough, even when something's not sitting right and they have to readjust the balance, or they have to go in a slightly different direction. They've got not even the confidence, but they've got the determination to do that, and to keep going even when times are tough. So, but that is such a hard question.
I know. I'm like, I really hope one day someone never turns around to me and is like, who inspires you? Because I don't know if I can name just one person. So which is why I hate asking it
I
myself.
know.
But people
But we
like
are
know.
so blessed. Yeah, we are so blessed that we do have so many people that we could, and like I said, I could probably talk for an entire day about the incredible people that I am lucky enough to have, you know, by my side and in my corner and kind of part of my life. But yeah, it's a good question, but it's a hard question.
No one likes that question.
No.
You know, it's a good question. It really makes you think sometimes about sort of what you actually do deem as inspiring qualities in a person. So I like to think of it as a reflective question every now and then.
No, it's good. I'm just checking some of the comments. So Chelsea's put in the comments here about being a small business owner and being recognised in the community. It can feel like a bit of an elite club at times, and I think you do get that in any industry, in any niche. You're going to have kind of pockets of people, and they don't necessarily feel like your people, which again is where, you know, it was so important for me to set up the Female Creative Networking events, because I wanted to create a space for people that haven't found their people yet. So yeah, I think that's a really key message there in the chat, and I think that's about it.
I think we've addressed everything else that's happened in the comments. Seems like a very, just getting good vibes from the comments in this chat.
No, it's good. Huge thanks to anyone that has joined us live, because I know, you know, it's the evening and people are busy, and hopefully people will watch back as well. So if you are watching back, then please still comment, because we'll be able to see it and we'll be able to come in and say hi. But yeah, thanks for watching, peeps.
Yes, thank you. We will get this uploaded to Facebook probably tomorrow morning for anyone that hasn't been able to watch on here, and this will be available in our archive section of our video series on the Instagram, so you can watch back whenever you like. I'll keep checking in on the comments, so if anyone has any questions that they actually want answering, we're always there to answer them for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Hannah. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And I will see anyone who wants to tune in for next week's live next week. It will happen on Monday instead of Tuesday next week. This was just a little sort of scheduling thing that we had to do today.
Yeah, it's my schedule. That's what it is.
That's all right. It was my schedule yesterday. I went to York and back. Like, there was no way I was doing this yesterday. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Jasmine.
Bye.